All right, so I feel like this is gonna be a pretty nice video because what I want to get at with these videos is really just talking about things that maybe happened today, just so that it feels fresh to talk about, and so that it also feels like, oh, you know what I just realized? I'm missing the light. Let me set that up actually. I kind of want it to be a little brighter in here, so let me get that set up. It's gonna look really bright. Oh, yeah. It's gonna look really bright. Okay. Let's turn this light off. Okay, yeah, that's perfect now. All right. So again, what I want to talk about in these videos, I want it to be something that feels like it's fresh, which is something that happened to me today. And it's something that has not only just happened to me today, but has happened on various occasions on many other days. And I'm sure that this is something that happens to you as well, and it happens to all of us, because it can be a very common and frequent question. And maybe we don't realize the importance of how we sort of deal with how we answer those questions and how it sort of impacts us. But I can certainly always tell that I've never really had a liking to that question, because I mean, it really depends on who it's coming from. But not only just that, but like if it's coming from somebody that you don't even know like that, or you don't really trust, or don't, not even that, it's just you don't feel comfortable talking about it with whoever's asking the question, then depending on how you answer it, and depending on how deep you go into answering the question, and it's not really, because, all right, so let me sort of kind of let me find a place to kind of cool down. I feel like I got a lot to say about this one. But the title of this video is going to be talking about protecting what you feel is sacred, right? And hold up, let me fix myself up. A lot of people will ask you, so what's your plan in life? What's your goal? Or maybe they'll ask, like, how's your life going? For instance, I was at work today, and this guy he was somebody covering from another store, so it was my first time ever meeting him. And I don't want to feel rude, or I don't want to come across as rude, but I never really sort of like introduced myself to people. And it's not out of disrespect. It's not out of like, I don't care who you are. It's not of that. It's just more like, I really do like a genuine, I like a genuine, authentic interaction. I don't like anything that makes me feel like I'm pretending, or makes me feel like, oh, we're having to put a lot of effort here to getting to know each other. I really do like a very simple smile, and I like a simple, hey, how's it going? Or hey, nice to meet you. Like nothing too. I know maybe I'm making it sound a lot crazy or something like that, but the point is, I saw that person. It was a brand new face. I've been working there for like about 3 years, so I can easily recognize when somebody is definitely coming from like a different store or something like that. And so I saw this person, I saw the guy, and I was like, okay, cool. He's definitely like, this is probably his first time at this store, and if it's not his first time, then he doesn't work. This isn't his particular home location. So I saw him from a distance, and eventually, a few hours in, he's coming towards my direction, and I just, I give him like a smile, and I go like, like that's my way of kind of greeting people. And like he came to me, he asked me like who I am. He introduced me, like he introduced himself with his name, and he asked me like questions about like what I do and things like that. And then he wanted to know more like about like me outside of work. And to be honest, when it comes to talking about myself outside of work, like who I really am, it's not that like, maybe by not having an answer to those questions, maybe someone can presume, or someone can assume, oh, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, which to an extent maybe has some truth to it, but that's not all the way true. Life is very mysterious, and it can work in very mysterious ways. Like I said in the other video that I posted before this one, I feel as if everyone really does have a purpose. We are here for a reason. We decided to be here. We definitely came here, and our soul had a mission in mind. And the words I use, like your soul, and we came here for a reason. Everyone can interpret this as a different way. You know, some people feel like we have no purpose and we didn't come here with a mission. And maybe, you know, who really knows what the truth is? I'm not here to tell you that we have a certain definite answer. I'm sort of just here just to talk, you know, and as human beings and as people, everybody has the ability to say what they think and what they feel. And that's just what I'm doing here. I don't have an answer for everything, you know, and eventually those answers may come, maybe they don't, and that's completely okay because I'm still alive. You know, I still love my family so much. I still want to explore my life, and I still feel like I have life to live, and I still feel like I have something to do. Now, see, the answer that I just gave. Now, if I were to try to give that answer to somebody who doesn't give a flying, you know what, then it's just like, what was the point? Now I just feel like even if I did try to say those things, then it was really me trying to come up with an answer. But you see how this flowed off so easily? It's not that like I'm trying. That was just me genuinely being authentic. It required no energy for me to really just say the words I just did. And that's how I know it's true. That's how I know it's real, because it came out of me so freely. And that's just being a creative, I guess. And that's what we all are, right? So the point is, I've had it come my way several times where, for instance, like around 2 years ago, I went to Colombia, and I was with my family there, and there were some other family friends, and we were at an event, and this lady had asked my mom, like, what is it I do, right? And my mom had to come up with an answer, and I got put in a situation where, I can't lie, I was kind of uncomfortable, because what my mom gave as an answer was something that I genuinely feel was like, that's not me. That's not who I am. And the next thing I know, I wake up in the morning and I got a cold sore because I was literally in a cold room sweating as if I was in a sauna or something like that. So that's not to say like, oh, why would my mom do that? You know, it's more like those kinds of questions are really sacred. They really are. And you know they're sacred because they make you feel like what you're trying to say or how you answer those questions. It's completely okay to not have an answer to that question, just so that you know. It is completely okay to not have an answer for that question. How's life going? What do you do outside of here? What are your hobbies? What are you into? Like, who do you want to be? What's your dreams? You know, these are very big questions, and surface level answers really aren't intended to appear for that kind of occasion. I know I kind of worded that maybe a little strange, but surface level answers, something that you can that requires effort to do, you have to protect what you feel is genuinely sacred. So for instance, when this guy at work was asking me all these questions, I was kind of it played out like as if the universe, like no joke, I put this like literally before I was talking, before I had that encounter with the guy, I was having conversations with ChatGPT, and I was like, you know, I really want to protect my mission. I don't want to mess this up. You know, I feel like I found a purpose. You know, I feel like I finally found what I feel to be is what I'm meant to do, because it feels so good to do these. As I was driving to this mountain where I'm parked at, I was playing some like jazz music or something like that. I forget the exact genre of the music, but it had me feeling so good. And I was like, I genuinely couldn't wait to come to this lot to record this video. I couldn't wait. And when it comes to telling somebody else who has no idea what I'm doing, and now they want a quick response to what it is I'm doing, it's like I'm finding it very difficult to even come up with an answer, right? And when it becomes uncomfortable, it is completely okay to protect what you feel is sacred, right? And so a few things that I thought of, like if someone were to ask, like when people have asked me before, how's life going? What are you doing, right? I simply just say, I'm surviving. Quite simple. And it's actually really interesting when I give an answer like that, because I'll notice that somebody like they'll like, you know, they'll give a smile, they'll laugh or something like that and be like, oh, that's an interesting answer, you know? And then the conversation just stops. It's like, okay, So that, like, if I just simply just say something as simple as, oh, how's life going? I don't know, I'm breathing. You know, it's like they don't feel the need to go any further than that. And, you know, it's not to say that when somebody, like, I'm not saying when anybody asks you that, you should just ignore it. You know, if it feels, you'll know when it's right to speak on it, when you're comfortable about speaking on it. Like, you won't feel the need to protect so much of yourself when you actually genuinely feel comfortable speaking about it, right? And now, it's interesting because I noticed that, you know, everything does in fact have a shadow. Like, everything has its shadow, right? And everyone is so different. So I'll notice that, like, for instance, there's this one gentleman that I work with, and, you know, he's also in his process of sort of like creating content. Like, he'll stream him playing video games, and he recently had posted like a YouTube video. Sorry, maybe you heard that. I'm like, the microphone is a little too close to like my beard, so I don't know. There's probably going to be a lot of background noise. I also adjusted the way that the microphone is picking up my voice. So, excuse me. This is probably the loudest you've ever heard me in any of these videos, and honestly, that makes me excited. Hopefully it's not too loud. I'm going to review this video and still post it anyways, because I'm still out here doing something that I genuinely feel like makes me happy to do. And when you find something that makes you feel happy to do, you should, like, I was advised by somebody very special to me. They said, pursue it relentlessly. When you find something that you really like to do, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It does not matter what anyone else thinks, and you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You know how you feel. You know how you feel. Because if it makes you happy to do it, genuinely, if you're like excited to go do something, like how I was excited to come to this parking lot to record this video, pursue that relentlessly. You know, everybody has something that makes them excited to do. And I can only speak for myself. Again, I've stated it in a video before. I only ever want to speak from my experience. I don't want to create something that isn't real. I don't want to speak on something that wasn't me, because that's pretending. And I don't want to pretend when I do these videos, because what is the point of that? Like, what is the point of that? I'm trying to be something I'm not. Like, I understand maybe like if you're, I don't know, like I've been, what's the word that I'm thinking of? It's not arrogant. It's like ambitious, you know? There's nothing completely wrong with being ambitious. There's limits to these things for sure. But being ambitious in something that you really love to do, that's a beautiful thing, you know? And maybe it's not even ambitious at that point. That's just you really liking what you do and wanting to do it, you know? Like, a lot of these labels is a whole different topic. I'm not going to dive into that because I'm going to derail from what I really want to talk about. But seriously, protect what you feel is sacred, you know? If someone is making you feel uncomfortable by asking you certain questions, find a way to sort of, it's not necessarily that you're escaping. It's more so, whoa, hold up now. I feel uncomfortable. This is just you, like, in an inner reflection. You're like, whoa, hold up now. This is making me feel uncomfortable. How can I not really proceed with this experience, you know? Like, if someone's asking, like, for me, right, today, when the guy was asking me, like, oh, like, what do you do outside of this? You know, I kept it very simple. I was like, I feel like I found my purpose. You know, I said it, I didn't want to dive too deep into it. I didn't want to get too, like, so I was giving kind of like surface level questions or surface level answers that kind of still spoke about it, because I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to tell him like, I'm sorry, I don't want to talk to you. You know, it's more so like I was giving a surface level question, and then next thing I know, someone approaches us, and, you know, it was like the universe was like, all right, let's pull the plug on this. Like, this is, you know, like, let's not make Jesus, which is my name, let's not make Jesus go through this any longer. Let's just, you know, bring somebody in so that they can sort of diffuse the situation. And I'm beyond grateful that happened, because, to be honest, now I can reflect on it and be like, okay, if someone wants to ask me a sacred question, or a question that touches upon what I feel is sacred, how can I now handle that situation so I can protect myself, right? And the reason why you want to protect yourself and protect what you feel is sacred is because there is no need. We already have so much going on in our head, you know? We already have those doubts, those self-doubts, you know? And when somebody is taking what you feel is sacred and amplifying those self-doubts, they are not adding anything to you. They are, in fact, taking your energy, whether they realize it or not. They are taking away from what you feel is sacred, and now that's making you doubt even more. And it's just it's just something that I would advise to avoid, and there's so many ways that you can eventually find great ways to protect what you feel is sacred. And that's really it. I don't know if I can talk about anything else. This might be a quick video, really. Let's see. How long am I in right now? Oh, I'm 15 minutes in. It's crazy because I feel like I talk during these videos, and it genuinely feels like I'm only talking for a few minutes, and the next thing I know, I'm like 15 minutes in, and I'm just like, it's been 15 minutes of me talking? It feels like I've just been talking for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But just to recap, I've gone through it so many times before where people will ask me questions, and it's completely the norm for someone to ask you at an event. So what do you do for work? So, and there's nothing that you should feel ashamed of in terms of who you are. You are beautiful. You were created to be beautiful. Everything that you feel passionate about is beautiful, and you should respect it. You should protect it. No one is going to understand what you feel is genuinely something that you are in love with. No one else is going to understand that but you, and at least I can't say no one else is going to understand it, because there are certainly people out there that will be in your life and will support you. And those people, bless them. God bless them. Because seriously, those people are wonderful. And and they're in your life for a reason too. They're there to support you. They're there to give you love. They're there to encourage you. And they're also there to hear you out, And it's completely okay also if those people aren't present in your life. If it genuinely does feel like all you have is yourself, then, that's why I'm glad that platforms like YouTube exist. I'm glad that that's why platforms like, I know everyone uses these platforms differently. I mean, there's the mainstream consciousness, and then there's the consciousness not so mainstream. And, the not so mainstream stuff, that's where you'll really find real authentic people. And I genuinely feel very connected to those kinds of people, because I don't really like to be too, and it's not to say that I don't distract myself with TikToks that are silly or Instagram reels that are silly. I do. I'm not gonna lie. I do. It's just so, like, some of them are really funny. Some of them make me laugh. I share some of them with my sister. I share some of them with my close friends, and they share with me, and it's a good time, right? But generally, what is super appealing to me are the videos that make me feel like, okay, this is real life, like. And I know maybe a part of myself, I know that, like, maybe some part of myself takes life seriously, but it's because life is really a lot. Life is a lot. It can toss you so much in such short amount of time, and it feels like sometimes there's not enough time to process everything. And it takes people sometimes several days. It may take sometimes several weeks. It may take sometimes several years, decades, to process something that happened. Because life is just crazy like that. And sometimes you just don't have enough time to be able to process what just happened, So it takes months sometimes. It takes years. It takes days. So I'm genuinely happy that platforms like this exist, especially a platform like YouTube where you can upload a long video. And I know that these videos may be being too long. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really care too much to break into mainstream and have, like, millions of people. Well, I'm not going for something that's viral. I'm going for something that's genuinely authentic, long lasting, a genuine impact, something that someone can remember years down or refer back to years down, and that's what I feel like is in my true nature, to build something long lasting, to build something impacting, because I'm not here for surface level stuff, and again, surface level stuff and something long lasting, everything has its shadows, But the point is, in this video, really, seriously, protect what you feel is sacred. It's completely okay to not give such a deep answer to somebody who you simply just met, or someone who you don't really, that, it boils down to, if you don't feel comfortable with something, not to say don't, but protect yourself. Protect yourself. Because the next thing that you don't want is more on top, more of something encouraging what is already in your head, Like, if something is, like, for instance, if that conversation between me and this guy would have gone on, I would have found myself really trying to answer those questions. And then that would have just drained me. Like, seriously, that just would have drained me. I would have been like, oh, God, like, not this question. Like, those questions really feel like the bane of my existence, because I'm just like, I mean, it depends on who's asking them. If somebody's asking them that I feel comfortable with, and I can tell that I feel comfortable with, I don't mind diving a little deeper, because I know that they're not just hearing me, they're listening. And if they say something nice, you know, that's a plus. That's a plus. So, yeah, this video felt good. I can't lie. Coming out here, I was really excited to do this. This is now like the outro part of the video. Coming out here really feels nice. I can't lie. Like, oh, it just feels so good to like just come out here and do this. So I'm honestly genuinely excited to continue to make these videos. I already have. This is like no joke. I have I think like 5 videos in total. Let's see. I have one coming out Sunday. I think I scheduled another one next week. And this will be like my 5th or 6th video. And all of these videos so far that I've recorded have been recorded in the span of like a week. But by the time that they're posted, it'll look like they were taken like weeks apart or something like that, or multiple days apart. I don't want to make myself feel like I'm draining myself of all the ideas or something like that. But truthfully, I think it'll be really simple to do videos like this, just because there's always something new every day. Like, there's always something new every day, and recording these videos for me really is like an outlet just to be able to kind of speak on the things that I want to talk about, but maybe they're not so possible to talk about with just everybody, at least on surface level interactions, you know. Like this right here feels, I know I'm just like, I'm in my car talking to my phone, but someone's gonna watch this video, and that for me is kind of fulfilling to know that someone will watch this video and be like, I don't know, whatever it is you think, or whatever it is you or anyone else thinks, even if a video gets some thumbs downs or something like that, I'm still doing this, and I still really enjoy doing this. And that's what I would inspire or aspire anybody else to do. Don't care what anybody else thinks, because you love what you're doing, and that's beautiful. Yeah. Now go enjoy your life. And I really do mean that. There's a lot of beautiful stuff out there. That's it. Oh, hold up. I have to pull up the app. Okay. That's it.